Welcome to the Madrona Group's 15-minute forms, where today we talk about a form for 15 minutes in hopes to develop a better understanding of it and how to use it. Instead of talking about an actual single form today, though, we're going to talk about the process of canceling and relisting. In other words, how do we revitalize our listing in the Northwest MLS as new when we have a significant enough price reduction that it would make sense to do this? So the first thing to think about is, would you want to cancel and relist, or would you want to just do a price reduction? Why would you want to cancel and relist? These are going to be conversations that you're going to have with your client because each one of them has different outcomes and potential things that could come up along the way. Anytime you cancel and relist, it will show up as a new listing. Keep in mind, when you have somebody who's been watching the listing from afar and is waiting for a price reduction, that cancellation and relisting is not going to notify them of the price reduction. It may notify them, if it's still in their search criteria, of the house coming back on the market at a different price, but it won't necessarily have the same responses when it comes to people who have currently been watching it and keeping an eye on it. Also, anytime you do a relist, you restart everything. It shows up as a new listing. And that means that any reverse prospecting that you could have started before will now get wiped clean. And then you'll have to start your new reverse prospecting. So when it comes to why you would want to do that, make sure that you go over some of the consequences or benefits even to your client before they make the decision to cancel and relist versus just a price reduction. The most important thing and the most common reason we do this is to get it bumped up to the back there to the top of the hot sheet. Now, new listings come up and we are on watch every week. In mine, I have it set for 7 days. So I can see in the past 7 days all the new listings that have come on the market. If you do a cancel and relist, this means that your listing will be revitalized and put back up to the top of what we call the hot sheet and will show as a new listing. Now, the new listing itself pops up as a new listing and shows to the public as a new listing. However, if it is a price reduction, cancel and relist, that new listing will not reset the days on market cumulatively. So if you look down here, both of these houses have come up on the market on the hot sheet as new listings. One of them has cumulative days on the market of 3 days. The other one has 116 days. Now, the one that has 116 days is the one that did the cancel and relist. And the one that did the 3 days on the market is a new listing from the beginning. So if this is something you're considering, how does the paperwork get done? Well, there are a couple forms that we need to be reaching for if we want to cancel and relist. The first step to do this is to cancel the previous listing with the Form 19. There's a box that you can select that says cancel. Anytime you do this, you're going to need to reach out to the designated broker or the managing broker and make sure that they understand and they need to sign off that this listing is going to be canceled. This removes the Northwest MLS number that's attached to that listing. And when it is re-input as a new listing, you will have a new MLS number. After you reach for that form to cancel it, you're going to go to your listing agreement and you're going to change the list date to match the new list date of what you're going to do with the updated change. Now, anytime you have a listing agreement with a list date, we also need to make sure that we're reaching for our input sheet, which is our Form 1. And we're going to make sure that we have the new list price as well as the new list date. Now, if you're just modifying these based on a contract you already have in place, because none of the rest of the contract needs to be changed, these 3 places can easily be initialed to make those changes. All of your input gets sent over to the listing coordinator if you use one. And if you do your own input, these can be sent over to the Northwest MLS. Now, there are some rules surrounding this. There are things that are in place to avoid any confusion or misconception for the consumer. So some of the rules that we need to keep in mind when canceling and relist is there has to be more than a 5% price reduction from the original price. The price can actually go up or down, but it needs to be a minimum of 5%. When in doubt, just do a little bit more. Secondly, the listings must be canceled before the price change. This means that if you have a listing in there, we do not do the price reduction because that would show the price reduction. Instead, we're going to cancel it and our new listing is going to come up at the new reduced price. Now, canceling and relisting is not going to reset the cumulative days on market. So the history is not going to just go away. This will only happen if the property has been off the market for more than 60 days. If you have clients that are concerned about their cumulative days on the market, really the only option for them is to take it off the market and keep it off for more than 60 days. Now, changing a listing broker is not a valid reason to cancel and relist. If you're thinking about hiring a different listing agent to go through our office, or if that is something that is a strategy point where you're trying to just get it bumped back up to the top of the hot sheet, the Northwest MLS recognizes that as a non-valid reason to do a cancel and relist, and you could be subject to a fine if you're just trying to loophole your way up to the top of the hot sheet. Now, this rule may not be used to correct any of the input mistakes. If you accidentally put it in the wrong area, you don't get to cancel and relist. Those are something that gets changed with just a simple status change sheet and changing the orders or the input sheet. Whatever needs to be fixed can be done in that manner, and it does not constitute a valid relist. Now, canceling and relisting cannot be used to bump it up just to mislead buyers. So keep in mind, any changes that you made must be a significant change with a valid reason to go ahead and have it relisted as new. If you have any questions about how to cancel and relist, or if you think that you might be in a situation where it may benefit your client and you have questions about that, please feel free to reach out and I will be happy to walk you through the process.